In this video, we're going to compare the male pelvis with the female pelvis. The goal of this page is actually that you can look at them side by side. They are allegedly taken with the same camera angle right next to each other. And compare them to each other and see the differences. Why is there a difference? Well, in the female pelvis, it has modifications to help with childbirth, like this round inlet right here, or I should say oval inlet right here, and a wider pubic symphysis. Where in the male pelvis, it doesn't have to worry about that. So it actually has modifications for attaching thicker, stronger muscles for more powerful locomotion. So like all the other ones, you can press play and it will rotate, probably making you dizzy. Advance it left and right. I'm going to be just clicking on it and spinning it. And these buttons enlarge. There's no hot spots for this. It was actually fun making these. It took about 30 seconds because I didn't have to do the hotspot files. So this is our male pelvis. We'll call him Larry. Now, in the male pelvis, the bones tend to be thicker. So if you're looking at this angle right here, it tends to have a thicker bone, especially the iliac crest is going to be really thicker because it's going to have more muscle attachment. Just bigger muscles need more space to attach. So if you look at the iliac crest, it is going to be a lot bigger than, say, the female. If we look at the female, the iliac crest really isn't as thick as the male's because she is not going to have as powerful muscles. It's all testosterone's fault, by the way. Now you might be able to see that with some of the other landmarks, such as the ischial tuberosity right here, where it's not as nice and rounded. It's not as, just doesn't have as big muscles attached. The ramises might be a little bit thinner in real life. I'm sure on this model, this is a little bit thicker, right here and right there. I am sure that this is more the company making them than reflecting a real life pelvis. So, difference one, the male has thicker bones. So which one is this? Can you tell by the bones? This is the female, but I'm completely cheating and not looking at the bones. So, women have wider hips, and you've heard it is for childbirth. And it's actually the fault of the sacrum right here. This change to the sacrum affects everything else in the hip. So this is the female. Here's the sacrum. Look at the ala right there. Look at the base. And there's the male. Female, male. What's the difference? Well, the female sacrum is supposed to be wider. So here's the auricular surface right here. The female sacrum is wider than the male sacrum. I have a suspicion the camera actually was closer, zoomed in more on this. So it has a lesser sacrum. Now, because the sacrum is narrower, that means the ischium right here, there's the ischial tuberosity, there's the ischial spine, is in more compared to the female. So if we look, and this is where you're going to have to like spin it around, the ischium here is way different. If I really wanted to, I would have you guys measure the difference between the ischial spine and the sacrum right there, between the men and the women, to prove it. I have other things for you to do. So that distance is smaller in the male than in the female. So that's also going to affect the ilium. The ilium here is more flared in female than in the male. So see how the ilium here is more straight up, it's less flared out, where the ilium here is more flared out and lower down. Then the pubic bones, because all of this is being pushed out, the pubic bones have to reach together. So this angle here is actually a lot less here than in the male. So see how this angle is less than 90 degrees. Again, if I wanted to, I would just have you guys measure this on here. And this angle is way less than 90 degrees, whereas this angle is way, 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 way more than 90 degrees. Now, what all this is going to do is it's going to affect the inlet right here. This is the pelvic inlet. And this is a nice oval-shaped pelvic inlet compared to a more round pubic inlet right here. And I actually just checked the two models, and this is actually higher up in the male model than in the female model. I haven't seen that as an official difference in the textbook, but that's just something I noticed doing this video as well. So that brings us to the pubic inlet. All of this change, the wider sacrum, is actually to get a more round pubic inlet because the baby's head is going to first spend about 4 weeks just in here, and then it has to pass all the way through and out. Now, what happens actually during childbirth is there's a muscle that pulls on this anterior superior spine. It pulls these out more, which actually opens this up more. But we have a wide inlet there to begin, where in the male one, that is round. In the classroom, I'll actually take the fetal skeleton model. It's a plastic model like this, it's not a real one, and try to pass it through the male pubic inlet. It gets caught up here on the coccyx. And then try to pass it through the female. It passes through this with no problem at all. So all of this is modifications for childbirth. So rotate both of these, try to find the difference between the males and the female. I suggest actually rotating them side by side with each other. They should be the same size, the same camera angle. You'll notice in the video the male was smaller and now it's the female smaller. So there's something going on with the code on these pages. So I just reloaded the page and now they're the same size, go figure. So then I'm going to send you to an activity and you're going to sort the pelvises. Which ones are male, which ones are female. And while you're rotating them, try to find some of the landmarks we've talked about, like the ale, or the iliac fossa, or the iliac crest. Thank you. Have a